Hey everybody, I'm James Ross. I'm the co-founder and CEO of HedgeChatter, social media analytics for the stock market. Today I've got a real treat for you. It's my pleasure to have Dave Babick, who's the CEO of Trifinity here. Dave has a wealth of knowledge as far as technical trading, a huge history of successful technical trading. And what we're going to do today is basically kind of get his insights, of course, on his background, and then also kind of dive into a little bit of how he uses HedgeChatter to kind of give him a more of a competitive edge in the technical market. It's not that necessarily with his background and his performance he needs that per se. However, with HedgeChatter, I think you're going to be very interested to find exactly how we can see some new opportunities that maybe aren't detectable in the technical world. So if you'll help me introduce Dave. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your history as far as technical trading and kind of your background.
Yeah. I've actually been trading since I was about 16, 17 years old. I started with a custodial account at Charles Schwab, had a passion for it, dove head full into research, analysis, technical analysis, fundamental analysis. I've read pretty much any book you can imagine on either one of those two subjects. I've actually taught technical analysis courses. I actually wrote a technical analysis book. So technical analysis is by far my forte. I've run trading groups. I ran a group in New York for about 3-4 years, doing about 150, 200 million shares per month. I was the primary kind of chief strategist and an analyst for that group. I've worked for brokerage firms, so pretty much been enveloped in this world for a long time.
Wow, dang. So up in New York, that's the big stuff.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was, again, it was working with a really good group of guys. It was again, 100 and 150 traders, but these were really, really high volume, good traders, and they understood technical analysis. A lot of it for us was idea generation, and again, that's where things like HedgeChatter really come in so valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you've done a lot. You've really mastered the art of technical trading. What are some one or two key concepts from technicals that you picked over the year? Yeah,
for me, it's always been about risk mitigation. So I'm always kind of looking at probabilities. I love chess. I love strategy, kind of the psychology that's involved with trading in general. And so technical analysis for me always kind of gave me a competitive edge over other people that I knew were playing this game without it. So it did two things for me. One, it allowed me to be able to digest a tremendous amount of market information within a very tight amount of time. I could go, and I couldn't do this with fundamental analysis. Literally, there's no way I could do it. Be able to go and look at 10,000 stocks, break it down into a manageable list of about 15 or 20, and say, these are the 15 or 20 I really need to be able to go and trade. That was really kind of on the identification side. But beyond that, for me, it was so much about, once I find something really great, how do I kind of optimize how I go about actually attacking that problem? And so technical analysis allowed me to be able to pinpoint entries, pinpoint exits, and I could do that with some very basic technicals. I use a lot of pattern recognition in what I'm doing and what have you.
Oh, very cool.
So,
very cool. Now I know we just met a couple of weeks ago. So Dave and I, we both have fintech companies, and we just met a couple of weeks ago, and you became a customer like right off the bat.
Bang, just like that.
And I mean, we're very honored to know that you've got this powerhouse trading background. Obviously you've done a lot of really big stuff, especially leading a lot of people. So we're honored to have you as a customer. So just kind of the quick summary. I mean, what did you like about HedgeChatter initially?
Yeah, it cut through everything. I mean, it's idea generation for me as a trader. Again, it's once I know what to trade, I can go in, I can use technical analysis to tell me how to go and trade it, to optimize the trade itself. But it's trying to get to that exact point of what I actually want to go and trade. And I'm so busy with everything else that I'm doing with my startup right now that I tend to trade an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. And even as efficient as I am with technical analysis and filtration programs and everything else, it still can be such an overwhelming process to go and get this point. So to have something like HedgeChatter, which for all intents and purposes, goes out and just quantifies massive amounts of information and brings it all down to this single point for me, that's invaluable. So absolutely, I went through, I looked at the system. You guys have some really awesome features, and like I said, the example of the Eno trade that we'll look at was phenomenal.
Excellent. Yeah. So let's do this. If you want, we'll take a few minutes, just kind of dive into just kind of show the audience, how you formulate, you have your technical analysis and how you kind of overlay and how HedgeChatter is kind of helping you make
Sure,
trades.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, things in HedgeChatter specifically, again, being able to go and kind of just, and I'll bring up Eno over here, or Eno or Eno. With with HedgeChatter and in general with trading platforms, I've used literally hundreds of different trading platforms, analytical systems and whatnot. So one of the first things I really, really loved about your trading platform or about your platform is the fact that I could get to all this information so fluidly. For me, that is, it's a dashboard. You know, and dashboards are utterly critical. And then you guys basically going in and pulling in all of this stuff. You know, so how much time would it take me to actually go and source all this information, try and actually quantify all this stuff, go and sort it out, get rid of all, you know, again, the manipulation and whatnot that's involved in this. You know, the other thing I've had with services is you get a lot of front running in other services. Well, immediately when I went into INO, I didn't see those types of things. So for me, the trust area, I mean, being able to go and actually quantify and say, who's looking at INO? Why are these guys popping INO up on their charts? And you guys have all of these tools and features basically that allow me to be able to go and kind of vet out that decision. So for me, it's literally, it's like I can go and say, well, I've done technical analysis for 20 years, and I could give you a watch list, and you would say, that's really valuable because I know it's coming from you, Dave Babick, versus this, I can come in and say, well, look, okay, I don't need to know Dave Babick. I need to know HedgeChatter.
Right.
That's incredibly powerful right there. So that right there is such an actionable thing where if I don't have time to teach somebody technical analysis for 20 years, I can feed them over, push them to HedgeChatter, they go in, they pay a monthly subscription, and bam, now they're getting vetted out ideas right off the bat like that. So just incredibly powerful stuff.
Excellent.
So, yeah. Alerts, the ability to obviously be able to go and have you guys coming in and signal these things for me. Again, I'm a busy guy. I don't have time to be able to go through and do a lot of this work for myself. But when I want to go and trade, I know how to go and do it. I just have to have somebody come in and actually alert me. So there are tons of alert programs out there, but there are programs that will go and alert you based on if a stock crashes through a certain price range, not based on social sentiment, not based on these indicators like that. So that just, I've never seen that being done to this extent, kind of the way that you guys are tackling this problem.
So isn't part of the issue with the other companies that have just alerts based on breaking through certain thresholds is that Wall Street and their machines, they have that instantly the moment it happens.
Yeah, it can be, you know, the funny thing is, I mean, even on technical analysis, I can go and set alerts for something crossing through a 200-day moving average, but it's really, it's different types of things. The indicators that you guys, anybody and everybody can go and know when a stock is crossing through a 200-day moving average. But you guys have this proprietary algorithm and all this information you guys have put together and spent, you know, a lot of time and energy on creating something that literally isn't out there. So we're talking about types of indicators that are unique to HedgeChatter. I can't go into my trading platform and get the information you guys are providing. I can't go into Telechart or other filtering programs like this and get the information you guys are providing. And it's hard to even quantify that just based on the amount of experience that I've gone through and used and how much time and effort I've gone through to try and create my own signals. That takes a lot. So is it worth what you guys are charging? Without a freaking doubt. Like I said, I would suggest this 9 times out of 10.
So walk us through one of the trades that you did recently. I mean, you had basically been on the system for like a couple days, executed a trade, and then, I mean, what did you make of that day?
Yeah. I mean, it was the trade was actually in Nova Pharmaceuticals. I love trading biotechs. I see there's a lot of biotechs that actually populate through based on the social signals with you guys. So INO, it was a good price point. It was good at, you know, a good liquidity point. These are some of the things that I look at in technical analysis. And so I saw the alert pop up. I basically went in and said, okay, I'm going to go in. I'm going to take a look at the chart. You know, but I'm getting recommendations from you guys again, chatter volume, things like this. When I go in and make a trade, it's not just purely based on pattern recognition or technicals, it's also based on looking at volume flows. A lot of these underlying things that I'm not able to get from these other platforms, I'm able to get through HedgeChatter. So I basically came in, saw it, was able to go and track it, look at things like social sentiment, look at the chatter volume here. You know, I've got, you know, this manipulation index that you guys have put together that shows me, you know, basically how much non-relevance is actually coming into it versus what is actually being relevant. So the indicator, the other thing I really loved about this program is the fact that you guys actually do these overlays when you make these announcements on the charts. That's phenomenal. I've seen charting programs do that with different types of indicators, but to go and throw that on top, because it really kind of validates when you guys are going out and actually starting to talk about these things and helping people get in front of the actual trade. So yeah, I traded this. The signal came through. Let's see, what was it on? You know, I started looking at basically via HedgeChatter right around the 18th, And a day later, day and a half later, I went and traded this thing right around $8.85. Rode the thing up to, I think I ended up getting out at like 980, 990, something like that. You know, so you're talking a hefty return in a very small amount of time on a trade that actually had a really, really good reward to risk ratio. You know, so the platform enables me to basically be able to go and catch the wave, and then it's up to me to know how to trade it and ride the wave. But I couldn't have done that. I identified that very succinctly like that unless I either had 20 years of experience or I had HedgeChatter. So think about that. HedgeChatter basically is 20 years worth of experience of being able to go and filter, find, and then bring all this information in to make a very decisive trade. So, yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a very cool platform.
So let me ask you, if someone just say had a year's worth of trading under their belt, and they were hopping into the world, they're maybe looking at some fundamentals, looking at some technicals, how's HedgeChatter really going to benefit them?
Yeah, it's fundamental analysis, not taking anything away from it on the long-term basis, and it can be a good kind of catalyst to get into some trades and whatnot, but it really doesn't have a lot of applicability when it comes to very short-term trades. So if you are somebody who's looking at short-term, whether it be intraday, whether it be position trading or swing trading, which is really kind of the optimal time frames for really taking advantage of something like this, fundamentals are very tough to be able to work in. Technicals are great, but it takes a lot of time, energy, and practice. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of charts to go and kind of learn my trade. Most people don't have that time. So if you're somebody who's new or within the markets for the last year or whatnot, the other aspect is that this idea of social is so new, and there are not very many services out there that can take all that information, bring it down, boil it down to this one point. So think about it. It allows you to be able to take advantage of everything that other people are talking about. Well, technical analysis is everything people are basically doing in the trade. Social, and what you guys have done with HedgeChatter, is everything people are talking about in the trade. And again, that's incredibly powerful. So the way I would use this really is, instead of going out and saying, look, I'm going to spend massive amounts of time learning fundamental analysis, long-term analysis, instead of going through and combing through stories and reports necessarily on stocks, when I'm really more of a core trader, I want something that gives me kind of this key prime point to be able to go and trade, and then I can go and learn things like technical analysis along the way to help me kind of manage the trade. But as far as the catalyst is concerned, this is hands down one of the better ones out there.
I know, like traders and investors, one of the biggest challenges they have is they're looking for research, for tools, for things like that. And the internet's bombarded with all these quote-unquote get-rich-quick type things, everybody's going to lead you to make a zillion dollars in a couple of days or something. And that's kind of been one of the things that we've really focused on with HedgeChatter, is to make sure we show how different we are from that. We're not in that arena. We're basically trying to really show people that, hey, we're bringing this kind of quality information that they can make a trading decision. Would you agree with that? I mean, is this something that you would think people need to have moving forward? Yeah,
absolutely. It's relevant. Every piece of information is really highly relevant. But again, you're talking about essentially a very targeted, very kind of crystallized dashboard for a company. I mean, whether it's, you have Twitter feeds actually coming in, or whether you're talking about news feeds coming in, but ultimately, to me, the real value proposition of this is the stuff you can't get elsewhere. And the stuff you can't get elsewhere are, again, the social sentiments, the manipulation index, things like that. But the bottom line, number one thing I can't get elsewhere is somebody coming in and saying, look, based on everything that we've put together, do this. This is the company that you want to go and trade right now. And again, to me, that takes an immense amount of time to be able to go and do. It's extremely valuable to have that information right there. And then beyond that, I would use it as a lead generation tool, for additional trades. It's one thing, you come in and you look at something like INO, and it's you want to see, can I repeat this? Can I do this over and over again? And yes, absolutely. I mean, CAPN is another one that you guys actually popped up today. Well, I'm already looking at CAPN on my charts and going in and saying, because I found it on HedgeChatter, now it's top of the notch. So tomorrow morning, I'll be looking at that, and I'll be looking for execution points on it. So it's a great platform. Yeah.
Well, Dave, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. Everyone, Dave Babick from Trifinity and CEO of Trifinity. And again, thank you for your time today, and we enjoyed having you.
You got it. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very much.